to talk to you guys about doing is, now that we've got all this 3D printers coming out and people can actually get their own, there's a lot of great stuff going on with AutoCAD type design and how we can use it. For example, if you go to shapeways.com, you can design items that can be printed. So it's a 3D printing service and marketplace. There's a lot of different materials you can use. And so you can actually design items now and have them printed out. Okay, so what I want to talk to you about is a simple ring. Now, the ring I'm going to show you, probably I wouldn't make it the way I'm going to show you. I wouldn't necessarily make one on Shapeways. You'll see why in just a moment. So let's go ahead and make our rings. We're going to start by making them small objects inches. I'm going to click open. That is our template. Let me close some of this stuff. We don't need to see that. All right, we're always going to start in the top view. We're going to print it so that the front and the right, we want it to be like we're looking down on the ring. Now, when we create a ring, everything's going to be circles. And we're going to use the center point where the green and the red lines meet. That is a center of 0. Everything's based on a center of 0. Now, with every tool in Rhino, you have menu items where you can grab it from, or you can just start typing, and in the command line you will see. So we're going to create a circle for our ring. So the center of circle, remember, everything the center is always going to be based on 0. So we type in 0. Now, this is the next most important part. We need to give it a diameter, not a radius. In my case, I want a diameter of 0.863. Okay? Now, if it said radius here, you would have to click this. So by clicking here, I'm converting radius to diameter. I don't want to do diameter. I don't want to do it as a radius. I want to do it as a diameter. So I click diameter. Now I'm going to type in my number. Now my ring size is a size 10, so I'm going to put in 0.783. And so you're going to need to figure out how many inches in diameter is your particular ring size. So I'm going to hit enter, and we're going to look here. Now, to make sure it was diameter and not radius, one of the things we can do is we can just quickly measure it. So I'm going to do dimension, and I'm going to do what's called diameter dimension, because I want to get the dimension of the diameter. And you'll see it says it's 0.78 diameter. So in this case, I know I did it correctly. It doesn't go to the next placeholder. It just goes to the nearest hundredth of an inch. Okay? So I know that that's okay. Now, I don't need to keep that there. Okay? So what I need to do is that's going to be the inner part of my ring. Okay? Now, I need to have an outer part, and it's going to be roughly 8 hundredths of an inch thickness. So I need to add 0.08 to 0.783. So if you think about it, 0.78 is like 78 hundredths. I want to add 8 to that. So that's the same as saying 86, right? 8 plus 8. And so I'm going to put 0.863 for the next circle. Now, I can just start typing circle in my command and hit enter. Remember, the center is always 0, so I type 0, and now I'm going to put 0.863, hit enter. I can zoom in now, and I can see there's the thickness of my particular ring. Now, that was the recommended thickness. If you want to make it a little thicker, that might be a good idea just for your text. So you can always add a little bit more. You're not going to get in trouble for that. But I would say a minimum of 0.08 or maybe a little bit more, depending on how thick you want it. And you can sort of eye it. Remember, this is a square inch, one of these boxes here. Okay, we're going to keep everything in the center. You do not want to move these around. Okay, right now we have 2 curves. They are circles. And if you look in the front view, it just looks like a flat little line there. That's because we don't have a third dimension. So we need to extrude these circles. So I highlight everything, and we're going to do Extrude Curve. Now, it's under surface, and it's Extrude Curve straight. However, we can just type out Extrude Curve, like so. Now, extrusion distance, we're going to make it 0.3 0.375 or 0.375 if you like that 0 there. Doesn't really make a difference whether you add a 0 before the point or not. Sometimes, visually speaking, it's a little easier to see. Okay. Now if we look in the front view, that looks like a ring. And let's take a look in perspective. Zoom in on there. I'm going to click on the little shader here and shade it. And that looks pretty much like a ring. Now, of course, it's got sharp edges, so it's not ideal for a ring, but at least it's a start. And we're just doing basic design here. Now, the other thing you should know, guys, is that this right at the top is the surface. It's actually the solid. That's the ring. What you see highlighted is actually those two curves we drew at the beginning. So I'm just going to delete those because I don't need those curves anymore. So I click on it. By the way, if you ever see the selection menu, it's because it doesn't know which one we selected. Is it the curve or the poly surface? Well, it's the curve we want to select. So notice I just hit the delete key here, and that gets rid of it. Now all I'm left with is my ring. And a fine ring it is. And let's go move around, just take a look at it underneath. You can see that it is solid. We cannot see through those surfaces. So that's good. We're good on there. Now what we need to do is we're going to add some text, and we're going to carve out our text out of the ring. And we're going to use it using the text object tool. Now I want to zoom in on the front view to show something. One of the things you should note is you see on the left, you see two vertical lines here and two vertical lines here. The inner vertical line is referring to the inside of the ring, and the outer one is the outside. So when you're going to do your text, you want your text to cut all the way through the ring, in which case you want to make sure it's no wider, it fits within these two inner vertical lines. So we're going to get our text tool. And we're going to type out, initials. Stencil is the best font if you're going to have letters like O and A. And make sure you do something that's bold, easy to see. The height of the text is going to vary based on the height of your text and the width of it. We're going to try 0.25 and see what that looks like. I'm going to choose bold and solids, and I'm going to group the solids so each set of initials will be together as one object. Click OK. Now, if it all fits within the ring, you're good. So you just click it, and there you have it. Now, obviously, we're going to use this text to carve a hole in these initials onto the ring. Okay, what we want to do is we want to copy these initials and place them evenly around our ring. So we're going to use a thing called polar array. So I'm going to select the text that I'm going to do the array. Now an array is just a collection. So you're going to have 2 or 3 of these initials. And polar means they're going to go around a pole, which of course is going to be the center of the ring, which is at 0. So it's a transform. So we're going to transform array polar. So it's called array polar. Center is always 0. Okay, how many items? When I have initials like this, I can place them 3 different locations if I want. So I'm going to do 3 items. The last thing is the angle, and we want it to go all the way around a circle in 3 even locations. So we're going to type 360 and hit enter. And now you will see my text sticking at 3 different locations. So what we're going to do is we're going to use our text to carve into the ring using Boolean Difference. Boolean Difference is right here. It's a solid tool. It's the second one over. Boolean Difference. First set is what we want to cut. We want the ring to be cut. So we enter that, we click it, and we press enter. Now I'm going to click on here, I'm going to press enter, and you're going to see that that text disappeared, but now we have a hole in the ring. Let me prove to you by clicking on front, shading it. It's kind of hard to see here. Let's look at it in perspective. And we'll kind of move this around. In perspective, you can see how it's cut out of the ring. So we're going to do the same thing for these two here. So we're going to click on here, Boolean Difference. We're going to type it out this time. Notice all I typed out was BOO, then I used my down arrows to select difference. Second set, we're going to click on both of these, hit enter. Now, it failed because these are overlapping. So I have to do one at a time. So we do Boolean Difference. Select this one, press enter. Now I just have to do it one more time. Boolean Difference. Select here, press enter. And once I'm done, I now have my ring. Let's look at it in perspective mode, shaded. There's my initials. Well, technically it's my username, 100 Visions guy, HV for 100 Visions. All right, and there we have it. It's all carved in because it's stencil. It should display. Now, this is pretty thin right here, so it's going to be kind of iffy. Even with stencil, that may end up breaking. So that's a very difficult piece to do. Once you have your ring, I'm going to go ahead and print it anyway. Now that I have my ring, what I want to do is save it as a stereolithography. So that's File, Save As. I'm going to change it to stereolithography. So wherever you save it, give it a name. When you do stereolithography, I'm going to put on here teacher. And I'm going to click save. You just got to make sure you just ignore these prompts and just click OK. We're not going to change the defaults. We're just going to keep it as default. And now it's saved, ready to be printed.